steal, and puts it down.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Shawn Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA legends giving their opinion about how good the glove, Gary Payton, really was. But before we dive into today's episode, let me ask you guys for a small favor. If you enjoy the content and you want to see my videos every week, please subscribe to the channel, and even more important, click on the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. Alright, enough said, let's dive right into today's episode. So where do we start? I would say let's take a look at some other Hall of Famers, what they have to say about Gary Payton, the glove.
People say that I talked a lot. Gary, come on now.
Ultimately, the real frustration came in how great a player he was, backing it up. But Gary Payton lets you know what he's going to do to you and then backs it up.
Yep. There we go.
That's legit.
Brimming with confidence, the All-American out of Oregon State would arrive in Seattle in 1990 to join forces with Shawn Kemp, transforming the Sonics into one of the most exciting teams in the league.
Pass to Kemp, he'll play it down. What a lob! Whoa! Gary Payton with a lob ahead to Kemp.
We challenge each other, not just on the court, but in the locker room to get better each and every year.
Sends it ahead to Gary. Too far ahead, he saves it. Oh, you gotta love that action! Good!
He made an impact on the game even as a rookie. So you kind of had to pencil that Seattle game on the calendar and say, okay, I know I'm in for a war here.
A legitimate offensive force who could score and distribute, Gary would forge his reputation at the defensive end of the floor.
Gary rips it away, goes the other way into the lane, up top, Kemp is there!
Stolen by Payton, he makes a huge play!
Payton was named the Defensive Player of the Year in 1996, the only point guard ever so honored. Fans and players alike knew him by one name.
The glove!
He was a nightmare. He had those long arms, he was quick, he was fast, he was tenacious. He was just a great competitor.
They call him the glove, so quick.
The intensity, the competitive spirit that he brought to the team was so contagious.
Gary Payton is such a disruptive force on defense.
He wanted you to know that you were going to lose the game, that you weren't going to play very well, and it was basically because I'm covering you.
The first time we met, we're playing in Seattle, and I catch the basketball, and all I hear is, I can't repeat what he was saying, and I'm holding the basketball and I'm looking at him, and then I had to turn around and like, is he really talking to me? Because he was talking so much trash.
Gary doesn't care at all. And as somebody that's been on the floor with both of those guys, Gary Payton has the #1 potty mouth in the history of NBA basketball. He was saying things on the floor, Greeny. I thought we was in the alley in Detroit playing rec ball. I was like, oh, okay. And so for Gary, an all-time great player, a Hall of Famer, and by the way, his calling card was defense. Yeah. So if there was somebody that was going to slow down Jordan for any period of time, it would be a guy like Gary Payton. But you don't make it to that level without having some level of irrational confidence. Yep. But if you're Gary Payton, it kind of seems like a reality because this is what you do to get yourself to be an all-time great.
Best or worst trash talker?
GP. I played with GP, I played against GP. He just didn't care. And the crazy thing about GP on the court, he was like that off the court. Like if he saw you in the mall, maybe that time I crossed you up, big fella, and I gave you that thing, you went up there, and you almost put your arm out of socket. You can't call me, boy, I'm a Hall of Fame. I'm first ballot, boy, I'm first ballot. It was definitely Gary Payton. I mean, Gary Payton was
You know, I mean, I remember our point guard when, early on in my career, he didn't want to bring the ball up against Gary. And that's really kind of how I started bringing the ball up and playing point forward. Gary would talk to whoever, talk to refs, players, coaches on other teams, fans. Yeah. He talked nonstop and backed it up. So he was the guy that, I think was the ultimate. And it was a little personal. He got a little personal at times with folks. But I mean, I think, that's basketball. You're trying, like you say, you're trying to get an advantage. Yeah. You're trying to get over on somebody. And if you backed down or you showed that you were scared, then he had you.
Because you're talking about how to play the point guard and guys that could do a little bit of everything. And Gary Payton and John Stockton represented the 90s, this 90s decade in two very, very different ways. And so it depends on what kind of style of ball you'd like to play. And I played with Gary in Seattle and grew up watching him.
And I thought I worked hard enough, but he showed me how hard you really have to work. And also he showed me, he toughened me up a little bit, being, a guy who likes to talk. He talked a lot of trash, and he, would say, hey, you're not going to score. Actually, you're not going to get off a shot today when we do this drill. And I'm like, it's basketball. I can get a shot off. And he wouldn't let me get a shot off. And I was really hurt. He would, talk trash and like, you're going to go home and cry. But, the big thing was, he said, he would never say it at the time, but he wanted to see if I would come back the next day. And I would come back, but I would, my ego and my game was a little wounded, but I would try, go right back at him. And until I got a shot off, and I thought, we'll take baby steps. We'll get a shot off. I don't care if it goes over the backboard, but we're gonna get one off. And then we'll work on hitting the rim and then go from there and eventually be able to score on him. And so he really helped me understand what it took to work hard and get knocked down, but get right back up and come back the next day. I'll never forget this. We're playing in Tacoma. This is, I'm in the NBA. I'm playing for Dallas. I'm a rookie playing against Gary, and so we always, looked at each other, always said hi. But once we got, after the tip ball, we were, going at one another. And I'll never forget, he's posting me up, and I pretty much kind of know what he likes to do. So he went into his move, and I blocked it. And I told him, get that stuff out of here. But I didn't say stuff. And he looked back at me, and that was a big mistake. He went on like a 15-0 personal run, and then we ended up losing the game. So I went after the game and I said, hey, look, my bad. I had a mental block. I forgot who I was playing. I didn't mean to say that to you. He said, oh no, you woke me up, and that definitely helped me. But I said, don't worry about it. It'll never happen again.
No.
You never played with Gary Payton?
No. I worked on television with Gary Payton.
Oh, okay. You worked on TV with Gary Payton. Jalen Rose said that. Well, have you ever played against Gary Payton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the Bulls. I didn't play that much. Well, I did play, but not that much. I played against him. I thought he was the best. I didn't know who he was when he came in the NBA. Let me tell you that, because I don't watch college, especially when I was in the pros. No reason. I hated watching film, so I really didn't want to watch it. So he came to the NBA and was loud from rookie year on.
Well, Jalen Rose said that he was the most hostile and angry trash talker he had ever encountered, and he would fight you.
So how good was Gary Payton in my opinion? Well, I recently uploaded a video where I think that the 1996 Seattle Supersonics would dominate today's NBA, and a major reason was Gary Payton. Not only was he one of the greatest defenders of all time, especially on the point guard position, but he's, in my opinion, also a very much underrated offensive player in terms of scoring. Why? Because Gary Payton was A, super fast, and B, he was always able to take you down low into the post, which he dominated other guards, even guards that were basically as big, as tall as he was. Anyway, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this content. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope I see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.
And there's one of the key turnovers triggered by the Seattle defense. Between the legs to Shawn Kemp. What an assist from Gary Payton.
And it just brings a glower on a head shake on the part of